Welcome to Professionals and Coffee, a volunteer collective for brewing networking opportunities. I'm Carolina Salinas, founder and host of this initiative. In this episode, Professionals and Coffee will talk about communications, consulting, and entrepreneurship with Monica Flores, president of Monica Flores Consulting. And as a co-host, today we have Tanya Kumar, an international student from the program Government Relations Postgraduate Certificate from Seneca College. Welcome to Professionals and Coffee.
Thank you so much, Carolina. It's such a pleasure to be here with you and Tanya.
Thank you, Monica, for taking out time today to have this chat. Also, thank you, Carolina, for letting me host this coffee chat and be part of this wonderful initiative. I'm really looking forward to hearing about Monica's experience and insights that you have to share. Thank you. I would firstly wanted to know that since you are a communications and public affairs expert with demonstrated success working with major corporations in Canada, Latin America, Europe, and the US, where you advise clients in the areas of communications, branding, reputation management, public affairs, and stakeholder management. With this vast experience and professional career, what are you most passionate about?
Well, that's a great question, Tanya. Thank you. So I am really passionate about having an impact, be it in the professional sphere and also in the board work that I'm currently involved in and have been doing for over 10 years. So I'm really looking to move the needle as well when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion from a communications and public affairs perspective. I love bringing value to my clients, and I find it quite joyful, actually, to share my expertise over 20 years working in the global corporate sector in the pharmaceutical industry, bringing that knowledge and insights and perspectives as well to my clients and watching their business grow and being able to really solve some major business issues or corporate reputation challenges, helping them launch products, and just getting their business to be even more successful. And I love to be a part of that. So very passionate about mentorship as well. And, elevating the impact of the next generation of leaders, which is something that I find incredibly exciting.
Being next generation, I really would want a mentor like you, to be honest. Prior to having your own consulting and advisory business, you worked in the pharmaceutical industry for many years. Why did you choose this field particularly? Why did you work in this particular field?
It's funny because I get that question actually quite often. And, what really has driven me for so many years to work in that industry is the fact that it really is all about health and well-being. And my mother's a physician, so she has been practicing medicine for many decades. And I grew up really in a family where we talked about health and we're very attuned to health and well-being. And it really has driven me to have this incredible career in that sector, which is really bringing innovation and innovative medicines to patients around the world. And that is really what's driven me over so many years. It's a mission and a purpose that has really resonated with me, working with the patient advocacy groups, working with the physicians, and really helping them to develop the best care possible and the best treatments possible, working with my medical affairs colleagues and other researchers, the commercial teams. It's really about, bringing together this incredible knowledge and research and development expertise and bringing it to society. And that really has resonated with me for the course of my career. It's about bringing innovation to patients and to society.
That's great. It really is good to hear.
It sounds amazing, Monica. It's always good to give back to the society, and more when you are influenced with your parents. It's always amazing. My next question is, what motivates you as a leader, and what advice would you want to pass on the new leaders?
Another great question. Thank you, Carolina. So what motivates me is really, as I said earlier, having an impact, and also having a kind of social impact, helping other people, rise in their careers, particularly women and women from diverse communities. So I'm a first-generation Canadian. I immigrated with my parents many decades ago from El Salvador, and I'm very proud of my roots, my heritage, and I really want to uplift other women from my community. And last year, I co-founded an initiative for Latin American Canadian women executives in Toronto with 3 other amazing women, also of Latin American heritage. And we were thrilled to see this incredible interest from the community. About 40 women came out at KPMG, and we were able to really start building this community and a network. And through doing that, I really believe that I will have an impact and hopefully have, a positive one on helping uplift other women and amplify their impact and open doors, be they in the corporate sector, or those doors could also be on boards, board of directors. And I really believe that by giving back, I can, contribute, pay it forward as well for all the amazing opportunities that I've been given in Canada and continue to have, and my family, as well. So I really believe it's super important to give back. And I'm a big believer in mentorship. So for me, it's been a lot about, getting out there and again, trying to uplift others and open my network whenever possible. In terms of advice, I always reflect on that. Recently, I was asked to participate at an event at McGill University as a panelist about mentorship and Latino excellence. And I was asked the very same question. And what I said is, you have to take risks in your career, and you have to always have an open mind to go and a very positive mindset, to be willing to learn and grow. And sometimes the opportunities that come along may not even be what you expected. But if you are curious and you have an open mind and you're willing to take those risks, I'm a big believer that is, and something that all of us, even and no matter what stage of career we're at, we should really be willing to do that and continuously grow your network. So I think those are the main pieces of advice that I would offer.
I totally agree with you. And as another Latin American person with Latin American roots, my background is from Mexico. I think you have made a good point that it's important to start building networking connections here, because here, unfortunately, but unfortunately, the Latin American community is growing up, and thanks of this eagerness to be outside of our comfort zone. So we are doing amazing things here in Toronto and across Canada.
You are right. I couldn't agree with you more, Carolina.
Yeah.
Welcome. Congratulations to you, Monica, on the initiative that you took last year and on being a speaker at McGill University. My next question is, when did you decide to become an entrepreneur, and what inspired you?
Well, after leaving my last corporate job 2 years ago, where I was vice president of communications and patient advocacy for a large pharmaceutical company in Canada and Latin America, I decided that it was time, to try something new. And being a curious person who loves to learn, I thought, I'd like to try being an entrepreneur. I've always worked for large companies. The smallest company I've ever worked for had 30,000 people. So I've gone from 30,000 to 100,000 to 130,000. So quite large companies and very global. And that's been an incredible school for me. I've really gleaned so many learnings and a lot of knowledge from working in this large corporate sector. And I thought, wouldn't that be neat if I could take all this knowledge and the expertise that I gained and package it and bring that value to my clients? And that's how I started. And it's been such an adventure. I mean, bringing those insights, whenever companies hire me to go and consult with them and bring them advice, it's a very senior level. So it's really about supporting and working very closely with senior executives to bring their business to another level and to create winning public affairs strategies, extraordinary communications programs, and help them when it comes to working with key stakeholders so that their business and their organization can grow. And that's been such a pleasure to see this value that I can deliver. I've been pleasantly surprised. It's that it hasn't only been in the healthcare sector. I've now had clients in the pension fund sector and the banking sector. It's been really an incredible journey and discovery for me.
I can't. I know it would have been. Since you mentioned it has been an experience, would you like to tell us more about the entrepreneurship and the journey? How does it look like for you?
It's a lot. It's not a linear journey. I would say that it's got a lot of curves and ups and downs, and it really takes someone who's comfortable with risk, because it's not predictable, right? It's when you have a full-time job that you are a permanent employee. There are their own different sets of challenges, but it's more predictable. When you are your own company and you're an entrepreneur, you have to do everything from business development to human resources, to you're also the chief financial officer, the head of communications, the chief operations officer. You're basically everything in one, right? And you constantly have to be, really building your business as you're delivering on your different mandates. So it requires somebody who's really comfortable with ambiguity, with risk taking. As I said earlier, you have to have courage. You have to have confidence, because you are really selling yourself as a product very often. And when you present yourself, you have to really come across to your clients as somebody that they should hire to help them solve their business challenges. So I really, couldn't emphasize enough that the entrepreneurship journey, it's a fascinating one. It's exciting. It has its huge advantages, but it also requires being very comfortable with risk and being courageous and bold. But I think, people who have those qualities and are willing to also try something new, it's a fantastic journey.
My next question, I think, is a little bit, you have already answered, but if you want to add something about how different it is to work in another organization as compared to company that you have built on your own, something that you would like to add?
I would just say you can't compare the two. That would be it's very different than working for another company, another organization. Being an entrepreneur is something very unique. And I think the one element that I've been so pleased to see is how somebody who has creativity can really build something fascinating. And I'm a builder by nature. So for me, it's been about building this exciting business, collaborating with clients, and really also extending my network in the process. That's been a positive, I would say, side benefit that I had not expected.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Now with Professionals and Coffee, I'm doing everything. I was talking behind the cameras with Tanya. I was telling her that I was doing building in connections with students, with professionals, developing a business plan, everything. I agree with you.
You're aligned.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
To be honest, women like you inspire other women like me. Thank you for that. Since I am a newcomer, my next question is, what do you think is the future of communications and public affairs, and what opportunities are there in this field for newcomers like me in Canada?
Yeah, so the field of communications and public affairs and also public relations is an area that I think there will continue to be a need to have professionals develop in this field. It's something that is far-reaching. It's international. You can work for a company that's multinational, as I have. It can bring you to so many places. You can work for different agencies that do a lot of great work in that space, or you can work for yourself like I'm doing. So it's an area and a career that is very multifaceted and can lend itself to so many different areas and countries and geographies and markets and even industries. So that's the other huge discovery I've made is, having worked 20 years in the healthcare field, at one point when I went and became an entrepreneur, I thought, I really wondered, were my skills transferable? And they were incredibly transferable. So that I think is the other big discovery that I would say in this field as a newcomer. Once you have a really strong knowledge of the languages, so be it English or French or others, I think that for me is the initial priority. And just keeping track of also issues in our society, as long as there are going to continue to be challenges in terms of reputations of corporations, of organizations, the policies and politics in different areas. The stakeholder relations management will be essential, and so will communications, be it internally within companies to employees, and also externally to customers. So it's an area that I strongly believe will continue to be pertinent.
Yes, that is the hope of a lot of people who are joining this industry just now. My next question is a bit different. You have mentioned that you have seen minorities, and my question is, what advice would you have for young professionals from diverse communities who are visible minorities as they start their careers in Canada?
So the 2 or 3, key points come to mind. One is be visible, and as members of communities that are, from different backgrounds, it's sometimes a challenge, to put yourself front and center, to become visible. And I have to say that earlier in my career, I didn't realize how important this is in terms of, especially as a woman of color, and how do we get out there and be front and center, and because representation is so important. And this is one of the areas that I hope to, be able to contribute to in society is if I can be a role model for other women, particularly from diverse communities, Latin American or other communities, then great, because I didn't see that many role models such as myself while I was, going up in my career and really growing professionally. So I believe visibility is key. Taking risks, as mentioned earlier, is key. Going for it. You won't, sometimes you might be offered an opportunity that you don't believe you have 100% of the qualifications for, but you should still apply and you should still take that, step and risk. Because if you don't try, you may not succeed, but certainly not trying is I think, not the way to go. And be courageous and determined, because success does not come overnight. It's, for some of us, it's a couple of decades or a decade in coming, but you really just have to work hard, but at the same time, build your network and ensure that, you're constantly aware of opportunities as they may come up. And sometimes it may not even be paid opportunities. It may be opportunities to volunteer and give back to the community. And that's also really important. So it's really about not giving up and believing in yourself. But I do believe confidence is a big part of our journey.
Yes, I agree. And you certainly are a role model to many. Also, since you have talked about the networks, how helpful would you say that the networks that you have built throughout the years turned out to be when you were setting up your own business or creating your own brand?
It's been really key. And, the clients that I have had and continue to have are largely as a result of networking. So that's a very good example of the value of networking. And again, it comes back to visibility and getting yourself known. And as an entrepreneur, you always have to put yourself out there, as the expression goes. And sometimes other people introduce you to other people. And that's really kind of at the heart of networking, is also developing a kind of brand that you stand for, and really creating, that unique selling proposition. What is it that you bring as an entrepreneur to the table that's quite different and quite unique? And from my perspective, I bring, a very international profile, having worked in, multiple countries, 13, 14, I lost count, fluent in 4 languages, and being very at ease in different cultures and working in different types of settings and corporate milieus, and also giving back to the community. So, when I go to a board meeting at McGill University's Faculty of Medicine, I am in some way, shape, or form networking, but, just because it comes naturally. And I think sometimes networking is seen as this very daunting and large endeavor, but really networking is just about getting to know people and getting to know who they are, and creating friendships along the way as well. And I think it's all really intertwined. And the same thing happens with all the different boards that I'm on. It is such a pleasure to collaborate on different, with different organizations and different leaders. And I learned so much along the way. So it's really about a learning journey. Networking really is about learning about others, learning about, other missions of different organizations, and looking at how you can contribute at the end of the day.
I agree with you, Monica, and also, building relationship, creating real relationships, and provide support to each other. Anything else that you would like to add to this coffee chat?
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to share my story, Carolina and Tanya. It's been such a pleasure to talk about some really important topics, mentorship, professional growth, networking, entrepreneurship. We all have unique journeys, and I was very delighted to share my journey with you and your listeners. And I really hope to continue to give back and also to continue to grow. I recently started my Institute of Corporate Directors education program at U of T, and the learning continues. And I think that's we have to all think in that very positive mindset. And I'm here to support the next generation of leaders.
Amazing, Monica. Thank you so much, and congratulations for that achievement in U of T. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Tanya, for co-hosting this coffee chat with professionals and coffee. Any social media that you both would like to share? Where can we find you?
So on LinkedIn, I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. So you can feel free to follow me or connect with me. Thank
you, Monica. And what about you, Tanya?
Thank you so much, Monica and Carolina, for again letting me host this coffee chat and giving me the opportunity. It was a great pleasure listening to your experiences. You have been really kind and insightful. Thank you again. As of connection, I am open on LinkedIn and Instagram. That is the 2 platforms I use most. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Everything we do here works because of you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channels and join our social media networks. Click in the description below this video podcast. And please join us to do your own virtual coffee chat, as Tanya did today, where we discuss and learn a lot about communications, mentorship, consulting, and entrepreneurship with Monica Flores. Thank you, and bye for now.